Oh dear, it's a shame people couldn't have heard this conversation with a very bored-looking Brian Peters. KUGAN CASSIUS, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're in Leeds, it's fight week. Lara versus Warrington, also Katie Taylor in action against Jennifer Han. Katie, how are you first of all?
I'm doing really well, thanks, KUGAN. Yourself?
All good. I think I found the right method to interviewing you. Earlier the better. Earlier in the week the better.
Yeah, maybe. It's definitely a lot quieter during the week, isn't it? So, yeah.
Well, as the week goes on, I've just noticed you just want to punch someone's face in, so like
definitely.
tensions are building, etc. But right now you seem pretty relaxed.
I definitely get more cranky as the fight approaches, so yeah, you're starting to read me very well. Yeah.
Good to hear, good to hear. I think we know there's still, obviously we'll come on to those kind of big fights, but with you, when you're kind of in a fight week, you're focused on the task in hand. We know you have mandatories to fulfill, so it's business as usual for you this week.
Yeah, exactly. I don't overlook any opponent. I'm treating this fight just the way I would treat any big fight, really. I can't afford to get complacent, and every fight is a tough fight at this level anyway. So she might not be a big name, but I know that it's going to be a tough fight on Saturday. I think anytime I am stepping into the ring, all the opponents actually raise their game. You're going to see them performing better than they've ever performed before. So that's what I'm preparing for on Saturday night, and yeah, I'm looking forward to a great night.
It's interesting when, like I said, there's been so much talk over the last year of certain fights, and you've had some of those fights, then other fights are like the mandatory situations. How do you kind of, not how do you get up for a mandatory, but that when there's other bigger fights that you really kind of want, have you got to look at them exactly the same way?
Yeah, I'm as excited for this fight as I will for any of the big names, really. So it doesn't change for me. As I said, my preparation, it does be exactly the same for every single fight. So this is no different, really, and I am prepared for a tough battle. I think, like I said before, if I do get complacent at all, that's when you actually start losing fights. This fight is a huge fight on Saturday night. All my belts are on the line, and I can't afford to let them go.
You said you're expecting a tough fight this week from Han, but what type of style do you think she'll bring to you this week?
I don't know, to be quite honest. I know that she's a very technical fighter. I know that she has a good amateur background as well, so I probably expect her to be nice and technical. Might be a nice technical showcase, but I guess we'll see in the night. I have prepared for every scenario, I think. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting in there and perform my best.
Obviously, it's a stacked card this week with Josh Warrington in his crucial rematch with Maurizio Lara this week. But 20,000 at Headingley this week, is that the biggest crowd you would have thought of in a professional capacity?
I don't know. I did box in Cardiff before on the Anthony Joshua undercard, and obviously at Wembley as well. But yeah, this could be the biggest crowd, and it's so exciting to be back fighting in front of a live crowd again. This is my first fight in front of a crowd, and I think 2 or 3 fights in the last year and a half. So yeah, I just can't wait. The atmosphere is going to be electric, and to have a chance to actually fight here in Leeds is fantastic.
Yeah, I think probably the right way of phrasing that question is the times you would have fought on kind of some of those undercards in your earlier fights, but when you fight your fight this weekend, it'll be in front of a peak crowd.
Yeah, exactly. When I actually fought in Wembley, I was expecting to be walking out in front of 90,000 people, but I was so low on the card. I think there was maybe 90 people in the actual stadium that night. So yeah, this is going to be a huge crowd, and I just can't wait to step in there. This is what I dreamt of as a kid, to be fighting on the biggest stages in the world, to be fighting in front of thousands upon thousands of people. So this is so special.
I do have to ask if you watched Amanda Serrano from the weekend. Did you?
I didn't actually. I got over here on Saturday morning, so I was obviously just preparing for my own fight this week. But I obviously heard that she was very, very dominant. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. No, if you haven't watched it, it's very honest of you. Some could have chose to answer, and well, you know, I saw bits of it. That's what Eddie Hearn says a lot. If I said, "Did you watch that fight?" I saw bits of it. You know, that doesn't really mean you watched the fight. Still optimistic that this will happen within the next 6 months?
I hope so. I mean, I've obviously signed for the fight twice myself. I want the fight, so I guess the ball is in her park. I think she said that she wanted to unify that division first, but I obviously want the fight, and I'm ready and willing to step in whenever.
There's also Ebony Bridges on this card, who obviously was in a world title fight with Shannon Courtney not too long ago. She's come back with a win over Beck Conley. What's your opinion of Ebony as a fighter?
I thought she showed a great heart in her fight against Shannon Courtney, and I think it was a great showcase for women's boxing. I think it was toe-to-toe stuff, a very, very entertaining fight. So, yeah, glad that she's on the card again on Saturday night, and yeah, I think she's very, very, obviously very, very good.
Obviously, there's a few female Olympians that are set to turn over. I think one of them being Caroline DeBar, but there's also Lauren Price, obviously the gold medalist. Caris, all these girls are excited for that kind of crop to come through as well?
Yeah, that's very, very exciting. I was actually glued to the Olympic Games for the last in Tokyo for those few weeks, and especially obviously glued to the female fighters. Some fantastic talents coming through, and Caroline DeBoy is obviously one of them. I'm very, very excited to see their future, and this is just great for women's boxing.
Do you feel like you're kind of like a veteran of women's boxing now, seeing, well, I would say a veteran, but you... It's not about you being old, but you've kind of, it's almost like you've been there, you've not done everything that you want to accomplish as a professional, but you've done a lot. And I think kind of everyone, especially from here and back home in Ireland, kind of all look at you as the benchmark of where they want to be as a fighter.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess I've done it all as an amateur, and here I am doing the best I can as a pro as well, and having the undisputed title, reaching the pinnacle in both levels, in amateur and professional boxing. So I am obviously very, very proud of that, but I can't let the young guns get to me either. I have to continue to train hard, and I'm ready for whoever. Yeah. It's
interesting you say that, because you're looking at kind of people up and coming, but depending on obviously how long you're in the sport for, there could be a possibility where, especially in women's boxing, where people are kind of fast track quicker than the men's, that where, what's that old expression, idols become your rivals, etc.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a huge possibility for those fights to happen in the coming years. So I am very, very excited about that as well. I think it's great for women's boxing. It's great to be involved in women's boxing right now. There are exciting prospects coming through. This is exactly what the sport needs, and it's exciting times.
I'm going to chuck in like a really off-key question now, just to get your response on this. Jake Paul, good or bad for boxing?
Well, I heard that the pay-per-view sales for that fight were huge, so you can't bash the guy, I guess. He is getting a new audience to the sport. I mean, I'm definitely a bit jealous of the kind of purses and stuff he's getting, someone who hasn't really been involved in boxing for too long. And then there's these young prospects coming through having to kind of do it the hard way, but you can't bash him. He's doing business, and he's doing it in a great way, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't be his biggest fan, but he is bringing a new audience to the sport, and he's making a lot of money. Yeah.
I think just from a profile perspective, he's doing something right, because the fact that I'm even asking someone like yourself the question.
Yeah, that's it, and I guess the fighters on his undercard have gotten big paydays as well. So, I mean, I'm sure they're very grateful for that as well. But yeah, I mean, I would love for him to actually fight a proper boxer. I think everyone would love that, to see where he's really at. Yeah. But he's very, very smart at picking his opponents as well, and he's doing great business.
Yeah, I think we've seen a progression in his opponents, but I think the next step now is to see a legitimate boxer go in, whether that be Tommy Fury or whoever. It'd be good to see a gauge of where he's at.
Yeah, and that would actually be very, very exciting as well. And here I am speaking about Jake Paul, being excited about a possible fight against him and a proper boxer. So I would definitely tune into something like that myself. And as I said, you can't really criticise the guy. He is bringing a new audience to the sport. He's making a lot of money, and the fighters on his undercard are making big money as well. So, happy days.
Right, well, Brian Peters has just stepped on my foot there and disappeared. So, Katie, have you got anything else you'd like to add before we finish?
No, I don't think so, KUGAN. I'm just looking forward to a great night on Saturday night. Yeah.
It should be absolutely electric. Great fights on this card, obviously Conor Benn and Maxi Hughes in a great fight. It's a right stacked card. So, yeah, I think if you've got a ticket for this or you're watching it live on the Zone, yeah, you're in for a treat.
Absolutely, I can't wait. Yeah.
Okay, Taylor, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. Best of luck this Saturday, and we'll grab a word with you after your fight.
Sounds great.
Thank you.